think about this, folks. Jesus Christ left the glories of heaven to come to earth. He could have stayed in heaven and just said, you all get to spend eternity in hell where you deserve to be. He would have been completely righteous to do that. But he left the glories of heaven to come to earth, and he did not live in a palace. He lived in Nazareth. And when they said, can any good thing come out of Nazareth, it was because that place was a pit. It was not considered. Remember the old joke? And did anyone here from Council Bluffs? Okay, I can tell jokes. Remember when Iowa and Nebraska started playing and they said, there's a new trophy for the Iowa-Nebraska game. The losing team gets Council Bluffs. You remember that joke? I thought that was a good joke. But it was a place that everybody disrespected. And I'm sorry if you love Council Bluffs or if somebody's watching on TV, it's just a joke. But the people made jokes about Nazareth. It was a terrible place. It was poor and dirty, and nobody liked Nazareth. Now everybody goes there for tourism, but then it was just can any good thing come out of Nazareth? Nobody liked it. And Jesus lived there. It was a tough place. And he lived in sinless perfection, and still he was rejected. And from the moment he appeared in the wilderness, people lied about him, and they rejected him. And then eventually they arrested him, and they put him on trial, and they beat him to a pulp, and they spit on him, and they put a crown of thorns in his head, and they beat his back, and they put a robe on his back, and they marched him out to Golgotha, and they nailed his hands and his feet to a tree, and they hung him there on the cross. And your response to that is going to be, because of all that you did for me, Jesus, I'm going to see how much sin I can get away with. Would anybody who's really been touched by the cross of Christ respond that way? I mean, if you've really surveyed the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, the song says, my riches gain I count but lost, and pour contempt on all my pride. Would we really say, oh, because of all you've done for me on the cross, I'm going to go cheat on my wife. I'm going to go steal something. I'm going to go commit violence. I'm going to go see how wicked I can live my life. Thank you for the cross that's enabled me to live a wicked. Come on, would anyone who really understands the cross do that? Let me tell you something, my friend. If you look at the cross of Christ as a reason to live a wicked life, you don't know Jesus. You may have religion, and maybe you've been saved, but your walk with Christ is dysfunctional severely. Because if you know Jesus, you are motivated to holiness. How can I live like that when my Savior bled and died for me?